Hello, Packers fans. Welcome into PackersNews.com. I'm Kassidy Hill, here live from Mercedes Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, where we are about an hour and a half from kickoff for Packers versus Falcons in Week 2. Both of these teams coming into today undefeated so far, granted 1-0, only one game so far, but both young teams with young quarterbacks and both putting a lot more on tape in Week 1 than many probably thought possible in the offseason, igniting a fan base on both sides that is very excited. You can see, you can even feel the excitement here an hour and a half before kickoff in Mercedes-Benz. Now, I know there is one thing that you are all wanting to know, so let's go ahead and address it before we get into everything. We will get inactives here. It should be any minute now. I'll check in just a second here and see if they've come in. Both Christian Watson and Aaron Jones have been out here on the field warming up just in the past few minutes from what I've seen while I've been out here. Not intense workouts or warm-ups from what I could tell, but are both out here warming up. Whether that translates to playing in the game, we will yet to see. But as I said, we should find out here in the next few minutes when inactives are released. If Aaron Jones can't go, what does that mean for the running back unit? Patrick Taylor was elevated from the practice squad for game day again today, but he is more a special team star. That is really what he's on the roster for, especially on game day. Of course, he did have 5 carries for 22 yards last week versus Chicago. He could see a lot more action in the running back unit. A.J. Dillon would presumably be running back 1 if Aaron Jones doesn't go today. But Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon present 2 different skill sets, and they provide 2 different things to this offense. If Aaron Jones is not out here, who has that speed, who has that perimeter threat in the running back unit? That could fall to rookie Emmanuel Wilson. He was inactive last week versus Chicago for game day. He was just not dressed for Chicago. It's still his first game. He is a rookie, undrafted free agent who made this 53-man roster. But as we saw during the preseason, he has that speed. He has that ability to get to the edge and then get down the sideline and tightrope it a little bit. I asked Matt LaFleur on Friday, if Aaron Jones can't go, could this be Emmanuel Wilson's first game action? And he said, yeah, absolutely. He would be the next man up, and he's going to have to be ready if that's what happens. We talked to Emmanuel on Friday about what that would mean to get his first NFL action, especially here in Atlanta, just an hour and a half north of where he went to school at Fort Valley State. He actually has family here today. Let's actually hear from Emmanuel Wilson on what he's thinking about his first possible NFL game action.
The same approach, just preparing like I did all this week, just waiting for my opportunity to come and just continue to prepare, study playbook, watch film. No changes.
Do you get any nerves, like especially before games or maybe heading into this weekend? How do you handle the pressure or stress or the excitement?
The same thing I did during the preseason, praying, meditating, journaling, even talking to my mom. So everything was just really me just being, what's the word can I use? Just being calm and relaxed. Just having a clear mind.
We've seen your perimeter threat and your speed. What have you kind of picked up just from watching Aaron as well, who has sort of those same skills?
Like when he finishing runs, like make moves in open field on the like DBs and stuff like that. Really just running full speed, making moves, and really tracking the ball, catching really well.
It seems that we do have inactives, and I'm going to try to get that pulled up here in just the next couple of minutes for you, just to kind of see how this shakes out today for the Packers, especially in relative to Christian Watson and Aaron Jones. One thing that we do know, presumably, is that Quay Walker will play today. He was cleared from concussion protocol on Saturday. That means he was cleared by an independent neurologist. Having him on the field today could be huge. He is a speedy middle linebacker who can go sideline to sideline, and that's something that the Packers are going to need against this Falcons run game, which presents a 2-headed monster in Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algilar. Sorry about that. They had over 200 yards of offense between them last week, or close to 200 yards of offense between them last week. Presents such a dynamic run threat. Both are so speedy. They can go straight up the middle. They can get to the edge. Having Quay Walker on the field will be huge for the Packers, but they also know it's going to be another one of those weeks where it's all hats to the ball, much like it was versus Chicago last week. We talked to the guys this week about what it's going to be like trying to bring down both Robinson and Algilar, and especially Desmond Ridder, who also presents a dual threat at quarterback, the rookie quarterback for the Falcons. Russell's Douglas, Darnell Savage, both had a lot to say, Rashawn Gary as well, about what it's going to take to stop the Falcons run game. Let's hear from them now.
Yes. You're actually running the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Justin Fields was kind of their run game, so
Yeah.
I don't think. Well, he can run, really can run, but I don't think that's what he wants to do. But running wise, lining up, yeah.
They're great with the after contact, with their runs, they're able to get multiple yards, and just their ability just to be outside, spread out, help the pass game, help the run game,
Definitely, a big challenge. They have a really good running game over there. I think last year, they were maybe third or fourth in the league or something like that as far as just rushing. So it's definitely a challenge for us. Obviously, DB's whole thing, you want to catch picks and stuff like that, but this week we really got to earn that. You know what I'm saying? We got to tackle the ball carrier first and, kind of get them out of that run game a little bit. So, we'll be ready.
He's a big body. He can move. So just got to make sure you lock in and play him like a receiver. And they use him like a receiver. They don't really use him like a tight end. Like, he's not in there trying to block every snap. Yeah. Like, he's out wide. So the best thing to do is play him like a receiver.
They do a good job with moving them around in different spots, It's talented guys all over this league. You can't really treat anybody like one anything. You kind of got to be ready for everything, honestly. So, like I said, they do a good job with moving him around and mixing him around in different spots and lining him up, letting him run different routes, that kind of thing. But we'll be ready.
Okay, so the inactive list has come out. Aaron Jones, Christian Watson, David Bakhtiari, all out today versus the Falcons for the Packers. Christian Watson and Aaron Jones were almost presumed, really, at this point. Neither really practiced fully all week. And in fact, Aaron Jones did not participate in team drills all week. Christian Watson was a limited participant on Friday, albeit on a Friday that is a much, much lighter practice. David Bakhtiari, of course, didn't practice all week either. That's sort of just his practice schedule. The fact that he is not going today is a slight surprise. Albie's here. I don't know why Albie's here, but he is. One person who was not on the inactive list was Emmanuel Wilson. So, as we just heard from him, he will be getting his first NFL game action today. Should be an exciting day for him. Emmanuel Wilson also told us on Friday that not only will he have family here, he will have teammates from Fort Valley State. They made the hour-and-a-half trip north to come watch their former teammate in his first NFL game. I asked him, did they give you any advice or did they say anything? What have they been telling you about wanting to come see you play? And he said, all they told me was you better go score. So I'm going to do it for him. We'll see if he can do that today. So that means Jordan Love yet again will be he was without Christian Watson last week. He will be without his two main playmakers this week in both Christian Watson and Aaron Jones. We'll see if, of course, Romeo Doubs has proven he can handle that mantle with Christian Watson out. What will the running back unit do with A.J. Dillon, Emmanuel Wilson, Patrick Taylor without Aaron Jones? That will be the question. I see that Rashawn Gary is behind me right now, so let's actually move to him. That's a good transition. Rashawn Gary was on a snap count last week. He played, I think, between 10 and 15 snaps total. But even in such a small sample size, he proved his worth yet again on the field. He took on pressure. He got in the backfield. He created holes for other guys to get pressure. It was just a menace, even in only a handful of snaps. I asked him this week, do you bargain with the trainers to get more? And he was like, I would love to be out there, but we'll have to wait and see. Having Rashawn Gary back on the field today for that, of course, that run game, Desmond Ridder could be a huge factor, if this does become a defensive game. Let's actually hear from Rashawn on what he wants to see from himself today versus the Falcons. Well,
I know that you have to go through a process, but is there any frustration like, man, I wish I would have been able to go out there more?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm a hungry person, but, also I'm blessed to be in the situation that I'm at, and I also got to look at that picture and also be thankful. So, any opportunity I'm able to step on the field and any, opportunity with the reps that they give me, I just know I got to go 110% like I normally do, and that'll be that.
You try to negotiate with the trainers on what your snap count could be?
This past Sunday I get into a little bit of arguments, but, they try to, keep me safe and, keep me away from myself. So, just stay to the plan, and like I said, I'm blessed and fortunate to be at where I'm at now, and that's got to be thankful.
If you have any questions, comments, predictions, feel free to drop them in the comments. We'll get to them here over the next couple of minutes as we get closer and closer to kickoff. I think we see a couple of them here. Randy asked, can Wilson beat the Falcons? That's going to be the question of the day, Randy, because without Aaron Jones, somebody's going to have to pick up that impact on the game. You know, Aaron Jones only touched the ball. He had 11 touches versus the Bears, and he was directly involved in 3 touchdown drives. Lucas Van Ness, another guy right here walking behind us that'll be happy to have Rashawn Gary back on the field with him. Lucas Van Ness getting his first sack in the NFL last week versus Justin Fields. We'll see if he can do it again today versus Desmond Ridder. But then, Randy has a prediction here too. 28-10 Green Bay. I'll be honest, guys, without Aaron Jones on the field, I picked the Falcons to win this game. But if the defense can take this game over for the Packers, then it could be a much different story. If, you know, he can – last week we saw versus Chicago, the defense get that stop and then give the offense the ball, and they were able to come out and score. And then they played from ahead. You know, they never had to play from behind in that game, and that made such a massive difference. But on the flip side of that, you know, this Packers offense and Jordan Love is going to have to be dealing with this Falcons defense, which is young, but with 2 really veteran and talented anchors. Calais Campbell up front on that defensive line, and then Jesse Bates in the secondary. Jesse Bates finished the Falcons' Week 1 win versus the Carolina Panthers with 10 tackles, 2 interceptions, and a forced fumble. It's the first time since 2000 someone has come away with that stat line in one singular game. Jesse Bates, of course, coming over from the Cincinnati Bengals this offseason as a coveted free agent, especially in the secondary at the safety position. Jordan Love talked a lot about Jesse Bates this week and how he's such a veteran guy that he can read a quarterback's eyes. So what is he going to do to throw him off? Let's actually hear from Jordan Love on what he's going to have to do to face this Falcons defense, and specifically Jesse Bates.
Yeah, no, Jesse is he's a really good safety for them. He's a ball hawk. You've seen the numbers he had last week with 2 interceptions and a forced fumble. So, he's a ball hawk. He's a really good player. He's a very instinctual player, and he plays on quarterback's eyes, and that's how he made his plays last week. So, definitely a guy we got to be looking out for, and just know where he's at all times.
Do you feel anything reasonable is sort of disguise what he's doing, and maybe he's better than other safeties?
I think he's just a vet. He's been around. He's played a lot of ball, and I think he's a savvy guy. You know, he plays in the post and makes quick reads on quarterback's eyes and where they're playing, and he triggers very hard on passes, and he's a ball hawk. He has good ball skills, and he goes make plays on it. But I think he's just a vet. He's played a lot of games, and he knows what he's doing back there.
It's just like to read your eyes. What do you do to kind of counteract that and not let them read your changing your person?
Yeah, no, I think you just got to make quick decisions and not stare receivers down. And then you just got to know where he's at. You know that he's probably going to jump a lot of your passes, and just be aware of that.
So we heard from Jordan Love there on what it's going to take to face Jesse Bates. Presumably, they could negate that with the run game. Of course, then again, Jesse Bates did have 10 tackles last week versus the Panthers. So what can the Packers do? Can they stick to their offense? Can they stay committed to it? Like something like we saw the Eagles do on Thursday night, where it started off tough, but they stuck to their run game, and eventually the Vikings broke, and it was the secret to their win. Danielle asked, what is the injury that David has that is making him not play today? Danielle, to be honest, at this point, I'm not 100% sure. I would presume something to do with the knee, but that is still to be determined. It could also be, and this is an assumption, so do not take my word for it, but with that knee and needing to be careful with it, David Bakhtiari has made it perfectly clear how he feels about playing on turf. I don't know if you can tell, but this is a turf field. This is not grass. It could be that the Packers and David Bakhtiari are not willing to risk that knee on turf. So it's definitely something to consider, something that we will ask Bakhtiari and Coach Matt LaFleur after the game today. Randy asked, can the Packers survive without Jones, Watson, and Bach? We will find out. So we are about an hour and 12 minutes from kickoff here. So we're going to let y'all go ahead and start getting ready for the game, get your tailgate food ready, get your pregame food ready, settle in. We will have kickoff here in Atlanta, 1 p.m. Atlanta time. noon back in Green Bay. We will have full coverage for you on PackersNews.com. Tom Silverstein Spoon will have his live blog going. It'll start about half an hour before the game. We will have full coverage for you here from Atlanta during and post game, as well as a new episode of the Green 19 podcast after the game as well. Guys, thanks so much. We'll see you next time.